Imagine being held captive for nearly 2 years, with your family and friends desperately waiting for your return. This is the harsh reality for 50 hostages still being held in Gaza. And it's a situation that's sparking widespread outrage and protests across Israel. But here's where it gets controversial. The Israeli government's handling of the situation is being questioned by many, with some accusing them of not doing enough to secure the release of the hostages. Hundreds of thousands of protesters gathered in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square on Sunday night, with organizers reporting a staggering turnout of over 400,000 people. This was one of the largest coordinated demonstrations since the Gaza conflict began nearly 2 years ago, with protesters blocking major roads, closing private businesses, and staging rallies in big cities across Israel. The nationwide grassroots strike and widespread protests grew throughout the day, with people demanding that the government take immediate action to secure the release of the hostages. And this is the part most people miss. The protests were not just about the hostages, but also about the government's conduct and its handling of the war. The day of protests began at 06:29 a.m., the exact time when Hamas launched its deadly attack on Israel on October 7th. 2023, organizers said that throughout the day, over 1 million people participated in hundreds of actions held across the country. At the start of the main rally at Hostages Square, a new video clip of the captive Matan Zangauker was released, showing him with a shaved head and addressing his sisters and his partner, who was kidnapped with him from Kibbutz near Oz and was released after 50 days in November 2023. In the video, Zangauker appears to be in good health, but his words are laced with a sense of longing and desperation. He says, "Tatu Natalie, Shani, Ilana, I miss you, and God willing we'll meet soon. To all my acquaintances, all my friends, go out and make noise like only you know how." The video was released by Einav Zangauker, Matan's mother, as part of the intensifying campaign to free the hostages. After the video was released, Einav Zangauker spoke at the Hostages Square, her words echoing the emotions of many families who have been affected by the conflict. She said, "Your quiet gaze at the end of the video accompanies me as I toss and turn in bed at night. My soul burns with longing. It burns that I cannot hug you, hear you, and hold you." In her speech, Zangauker criticized the government's conduct, saying, "They have turned the most just war into a feudal war. If Netanyahu wants an agreement, let him put a comprehensive proposal on the table and agree to it. Otherwise, he is simply lying." Family members of the hostages, leading the strike alongside the October Council, which represents bereaved families from the war, held a press conference in Tel Aviv announcing an emergency break until the hostages are released. Anat Engrist, whose son Matan is held in Gaza, said, "Today we stop everything to save the lives of 50 hostages and soldiers. Today we stop everything to remember the supreme value of the sanctity of life." Polls have repeatedly shown that a large majority in Israel support a ceasefire deal to release all of the hostages in exchange for an end to the war. But here's the thing. The last round of negotiations fell apart in late July when the U.S. and Israel withdrew their teams from talks in Doha, accusing Hamas of not negotiating in good faith. Vicky Cohen, whose son Nimrod is a hostage, said, "We are united in one simple demand directed at the Israeli government. Put an Israeli proposal on the table today for a comprehensive deal to end the war in exchange for the return of the last hostage. No slogans, no sabotage, no demands that we know the other side won't accept." The strike was announced last week, following the Israeli Security Cabinet's decision to expand the war and take over Gaza City, despite the Israeli military's warning that the operations could endanger the 50 remaining hostages in Gaza, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. The Israeli military says the operation will begin soon, and the government says it will provide the local population in Gaza with tents before relocating them for their protection. Almost the entire population in Gaza has been displaced, with many forced to move multiple times. As of early Sunday afternoon, Israeli police say 38 protesters had been arrested across the country for disturbing the peace. Israel's largest labor organization, the Histadrut, did not join the strike, though it encouraged employers to let workers participate. But many technology companies, law firms, academic institutions, and private sector enterprises announced their participation and support, alongside citizens who declared they would take the day off or refrain from business transactions. Israeli President Isaac Herzog expressed support for the hostage families while visiting the central gathering at Hostages Square. All of the people of Israel are anxious, concerned, and want the hostages to come home. There is not a single Israeli woman or man who does not want them home, Herzog said. But members of the Israeli government slammed the day of protests, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu telling a cabinet meeting, "Those who are calling today to end the war without defeating Hamas not only harden Hamas's stance and delay the release of our hostages, they are also ensuring that the horrors of October 7th will repeat themselves again and again." Itamar Ben-Gvir, the far-right Minister of National Security, said the strike was a cynical political maneuver on the backs of the hostages, linking it to long-standing anti-government protest movement. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum, which represents most of the hostages who remain in Gaza, said in response, "You can continue to hide behind spins and political calculations, but you cannot escape responsibility." The forum announced plans to set up a protest encampment on the Gaza border called Waypoint 50, representing the 50 hostages, to continue pressuring the government to secure their release. So, what do you think? Should the Israeli government prioritize the release of the hostages, even if it means negotiating with Hamas? Or should they take a harder stance and risk further conflict? Share your thoughts in the comments below.